But last year, I just really felt the Lord was like, Emma, like this season of grief has come to an end. Like joy is coming, healing is coming, and I really started a healing journey with the Lord. So 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, my dad passed away, and that was a moment that I was like, I don't think I'm gonna make it through. I don't think I'm gonna get through out of the situation. Like less than a year prior, my stepdad had passed away. The pandemic had just hit. I like the job that I was working, I decided like all this time I just spent with my undergrad degree doing healthcare management, like I no longer wanted to do it. I moved across the country. The house I was living in was burglarized. I was having so much issues with my car and I could not afford it. So like I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm moving, right? And I left, and it took me about 6 months to get a job. Like once I moved to California, I applied to the jobs continuously, didn't get it. And I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna hope for the best. Maybe I'm gonna go into like do fashion stuff or relaunch, you know, my different ideas. So I did that. And so finally at 6 months, I think the following year in 2021 in February, I like relaunched the brand. And it did well. I sold out in like 1 week. And then I finally got a job. And then I was like, all right, bet this is my time to go back to graduate school. So I did that. And so everything was going well. I gave myself like a year of not dating and all the different things. And I met this one guy and we started to date. So everything that you would think that would make my life line up to be like, I'm good, it was there, right? And I was like really like, okay, I'm gonna go after Jesus for real. And so everything was well. And then my dad passed away. And it was just so unexpected because I had already just gone through a season of transition that was also like, well, this is a lot, but I'm trying my best to stay afloat, to show up, all the different things. And prior to him passing away, it was like we were on the brink of like getting our relationship back to the most beautiful place, right? Like the last time I spoke with him, he was telling me how he missed me, how he had plans to see me. We bought a plane. And the thing was, the year before, there was a flight for me to travel out to go see him. But because of the pandemic, I couldn't. And so we're just waiting for everything to settle down. And that in July was the last time I spoke with him. And we were talking about planning to go to Ghana. So he was like, okay, like, let's see what we can do to make sure you get your ticket. I want you to go see this hotel that I'm building because now you're in grad school, you're getting your business degree. I want you to help me manage this hotel. I want you to like, you know, let's work together and all the different things. He told me, for some reason that conversation was just so good. And not saying prior conversations weren't good, but like it was just so good. Like he mentioned he missed me, he told me about future plans, and then he also reminded me about the meaning of my name. He was like, yeah, Emma means universal, it means like whole. And he was just telling me how as his only daughter, like he really named me after his mom because he really loved his mom and stuff like that. So it was amazing, right? But prior to this conversation, I just want to say like we had a very interesting relationship with ebbs and flows. And so we were getting to a point of our like almost like it was like reconciliation had happened, but just kind of like back to that first love, you know, like my dad was the first love, right? And I remember when I was younger, a place that just wasn't that great. My parents got a divorce, and then like this new relationship, and then he just like suddenly passed away. It was really out of nowhere. Like I spoke with him, I was like, how are you? Like I always check on him, see how I was doing. He was like, oh yeah, he goes to the gym, he has his gym bag. So like this was out of the blue, like not expected, not anticipated. And so when he passed away, I was so devastated. I just couldn't understand why God would literally take me through all of these years of having issues of like my dad, right? Like having all these issues with like understanding love, because my parents being divorced, right? And we're not always seeing eye to eye, or the different things that life look like. How could it that be that I went through all of that, went through all the different mistakes I made because I just didn't get the love that I felt that I needed? And we're finally getting to a point of like closeness. He was like he was like telling me like he just can't wait to celebrate with me. We're like, I'm now at an age where it's like marriage makes sense, and he's like, we can't wait to like dance to My Girl like we did when I was younger. And we're getting to that point, and he just passed away. I just didn't understand. Like, what? Not me crying on the internet, y'all. So, I just didn't get it. I just didn't understand. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. I wanted it to make sense, but it didn't make sense. I remember going through the motions, like funeral planning, all the different things, and I was just kind of like, I was just kind of like, I didn't really have much in me to say. Once my dad passed away during like a finals week of classes, and I had just started my MBA program. And so because of that, I had like 2 panic attacks, and I couldn't travel to Canada at some point. Then I finally made it, and then when I was in Canada, that's when he passed away. So like it was just like 2 weeks of absolute the worst life, the worst days of my life. And the thing was, it's only like a it was only like a 5-week course. So if 2 weeks out of those, I'm like, bruh, get me out of here. I don't even have it in me. And I think I spoke with one of the teachers, like, I'll make up my assignments. And honestly, like, the hit was so strong that I had nothing else to give. Like, I pretty much withdrew from that semester and actually school altogether. Like, I just didn't have it in me. And then at the time, the job I was working, they were saying that because I went to Canada and used my PTO time, that I couldn't take off more time for the funeral. And I was like, y'all, I'm stressed anyway. I don't have it in me. I quit. Okay, so my whole life was shut down. So after like grieving, staying to myself for a few months, I was like, okay, well, what's going on in my life now, right? I have a job. I was the business that I had relaunched down. Okay, like I did not want to be alive. I think I have to be honest. I was like kind of feeling like, it was just so hard. I can't even explain, but it was hard. But during that time, I remember saying to myself, like, dang, I really want to not live life like this. I don't want to be in the place where when something bad happens to me, I'm ready to not be alive. I want to stay alive because, wow, like I just kind of was just like, I don't want this to be the case that every time something bad happens to me, I'm down bad. I have nothing to give. I'm ready to I'm shutting down. Everything doesn't matter to me. And honestly, the only thing that kind of made sense was God. For real. Because it was just like, okay, I did the partying, I did the drinking, I did the boyfriend thing. And it's like, none of it is helping me. Nothing is working. And so I remember I went to this lunch with at the church, because they had a lunch at the church where you get to meet the pastors, you just get to understand more about the church. So I went to that, and I was having a conversation, and every conversation they asked me, they're like, oh, like, hey, what are you doing? Like, what do you have? I said, oh, my name is Emma. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. My dad just died. Every single person, I was just like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have a job. My life, I don't know. Okay. I don't know what's going on. And so that was cool. I made some connections. And so eventually I started a job, right? So now the funeral has, like, he's passed away. The funeral has happened. Everything is kind of settled. And then I took like 6 weeks just to travel. I went to Maryland. I went to Atlanta. It was such a healing time. It was so good. My friends really came through for me. Like, they threw me a surprise party during the funeral time. They raised money to just kind of help me. Yeah, like, I am forever grateful to them. And I know that God placed them in my life for a reason. I started my new job, and you would think like everything settled down. Yes and no, because I think 2 weeks into starting my role, we found out that my mom had cancer. She had high-grade endometrial cancer, and it was a sarcoma, so that was like really like serious. So now I'm like processing the grief, but I'm also processing, okay, the goodness of God in this, but it's like, whoa, there's more. And so we walked through that journey of healing for her with chemo, with surgery, with complications, then a whole nother surgery, and then, yeah. And then during that time, her dad passed away. So it's now like, wow, all these father figures in my life are passing away. What is going on? But by God's grace, we were able to get through that season. That season also, I feel like God really showed up in my life. Like, I really came to learn who he was. I did mission trips during that time. I celebrated my birthday with a group of friends, and it was like the best time ever, like absolutely best time really ever. And then it was so monumental for me to come from such a moment of not wanting to be alive to be like, oh, I'm going to celebrate my birthday. Like, it's worth celebrating. So that whole year was pretty much going through that process of like healing for my mom. And so because of that, I don't know if I fully was able to navigate. Like, it was really hard for me because it was like, I just lost a parent, and I'm really trying to hold on to this one parent. Like, I want to do everything I can in my willpower. But thankfully, because of the role I had, like, they absolutely was like, girl, go do what you need to do. Your mom, like, you know, like, I would go see her every single day. I'm driving like 45 minutes after work to go see her because she's in the hospital for like 2 weeks at a time. She can't, you know, it was a whole lot. But God, okay? And so after 2022, we got through that. 2023, like, I came in, I was like, oh, if God heal, you know, he could do that, he could heal her, then of course he about to show up for me. So I had all these expectations. Like, I had a 23, after 2023, 23 things I'm about to that's happening for me. Like, I had the goals. I was like, this is it. Like, it has to happen for me. It didn't. Okay, it absolutely didn't. It was like interesting because it's like, dang, I think I deserve something good to happen to me, and it didn't. Or like, I gave God this list and he didn't do it. And I think that my heart didn't become hardened, but it really was like, let's really figure out what's in your heart, and let's really deal with what's in your heart. I am struggling. Like, every Father's Day, I'm struggling. And struggling in the sense, like, I don't want to get out of bed. Struggling in the sense with very like dark thoughts. On his birthday, I'm struggling. On holidays, I'm struggling. Like, I'm showing up as myself, but like, there's a part of me that's hurting so much. Like, why did this happen to me? Why do bad things keep on happening to me? You know, like, what is it? Like, bruh, like, nothing is working out. And so like, I just carried a lot. And it really sat on me, you know. And at some point, it's like 3 years down the line, and it's like one thing or another, I literally was like, I don't want to talk to nobody. Like, I don't want to, do I even deserve friends? Because literally, what is it? You're going to check on me like, hey, Emma, how are you? And it's like, I'm not good. Everything is still not okay. Like, you're encouraging me, but I'm not good. Like, it's always one thing or another. And so I think like I really like held that. And it was just so much heartbreak, because it was like, okay, my stepdad died, my dad died, my mom got cancer, then my grandfather died, then we're finally getting over that, then my uncle died, then hey, what is happening? What is really happening? What is going on? And I'm not like, my health is not doing that great, trying to show up, trying to be like, and I'm like, I'm not okay. I am not okay. Okay. So last year I really felt it, like at the maybe around March or something. I felt like God was like, Emma, let me heal your heart for real. And with that was like, it was so radical. It was like, and it was so beautiful, because he had already been my father since my dad passed away. He'd already been like my savior and a deliverer. But at that time, he became my friend. And he was like, girl, I do not like to see you like this. I do not like to see your heart breaking. And you're just like, wow, I don't have a dad to walk me down the aisle. Or like the different, like, as it's a lie. Anyway, God healed me from a broken heart. But the thing is, he allowed me to go through the grief until it was time for like, nah, Emma. Like, you know, it makes me think of Elijah. And when he like did, you know, he had all that radical encounter, like God really moved. And then because of a word someone said, he was like, dang, I'm ready to die. Like, I really feel like that was me, like in a cave for like 3 years. Because although the good things were happening in my life, a simple word from somebody, ooh, I was done for. And God really became my friend. And he really was like, let's sit together and let's deal with what's in your heart. I had to be honest. And I didn't like force myself. I didn't use religion to like suppress myself. Like, but I think that processing my grief with Jesus was the best thing ever, and taking my time with it, not feeling like it had to be in a year, not feeling like it had to be in 3 months. It was like, and thankfully I was in a space that allowed me to do that, living in California with my brother, my mom. Like, it's been so healing for me. It's just been so amazing. Here in January 2025, I can really say that God has healed me. He's healed my heart. He literally brought people into my life to bring that healing, right? Like, there's so many different people that prayed with me, whether I actually went to a prayer session myself, or it's just kind of like meeting us, like somebody that's a father figure, and like they praying a father's blessing over me. It's crazy. I'd be like, oh my gosh, Lord, you're so amazing. Or it was like, what are other ways he showed up and that brought so much healing? Just sending specific people in my life where it's like on my, and even being around my niece and my nephew, where it's like on my really down days and dark days, when I've been in the room for like 16 hours, I haven't eaten, I haven't bathed, I haven't, like, none of it. They will be like, Auntie Emma, what's going on? Auntie Emma, jump on the bed. Then it's like, okay, we're going to walk. And so all I have to say, whatever you're going through, it gets better. So don't give up and trust that the Lord's got you, regardless of what it looks like. He healed me, and he's still healing me. I know he's still healing me. So yeah, thanks guys. Like and subscribe for more.